Hey guys, it's Leia speaking. So let's talk about the most recent episode of Succession, my thoughts and reaction. Um yeah, what the fuck? So I would say that this episode probably is the least tense that the season has been so far. The main things that we got from this episode was the CE being drunk on power. Shiv gets caught up a bit trying to play both sides, mainly because she realizes that Madsen is actually fucking insane. And then we have our little Tom Shiv reunion. I know it's a lot of the girlies out there are looking for that. They were waiting on it. They was plotting on it. We got it in this episode. So I'm gonna start with what Shiv was doing this episode because Shorty, she was bugging. She really has gotten herself into quite the predicament. So she's trying to juggle both Matson and her brothers, right? And Matson is really putting the pressure on her. When she tells him about the new product, he's just like, why are your brothers even doing new stuff? You guys are just keeping shop. Don't do new stuff because I don't want to deal with it, yada yada, right? And it's obvious that he's getting antsy and he just wants the deal to be done. And the sneakier side of Matson is coming out, right? Because he's telling her he doesn't want to deal with it. He doesn't like real estate. But the real reason is he doesn't want the stock price to go up because he knows that might tank the deal if they come out with this new product. So Shiv has her first real mission from Matson, but the issue is her brothers immediately start BSing in the investor day meeting. The thing that Roman did on the mountain, they're saying that Matson did that, and they're like, oh, he's weird, he's erratic, we don't know if we want to deal with him, and they're subtly still trying to fuck the deal. And Shiv sees through it, she knows what's going on, but she can't do anything about it, because her brothers are gone, And then they do that little stupid huggy thing. I'm getting annoyed because it's the hug thing was cute because they only did it and they were being really vulnerable for each other and it was a genuine thing. And now Roman just did it to smooth things over with her. You know, the gap between the siblings is growing, so Shiv can't even be a mole properly. And this is where the in over her head shift starts to pop up that I talked about last time, right? Because she's trying to calm Madsen down the whole episode and she does a horrible fucking job, leading him to make a fucking insane joke. And then eventually he takes it down and there are people who are like, oh, she got to take it down. And I'm like, no. He took that down because he got the message out that he wanted. And then once he started to get a bit too much backlash, she was like, okay, fine. Shiv had nothing to do with that. This whole episode, when it came to trying to play both sides, she fell flat on her face. Shiv girlies, we are down 1,000. So both parties are just stressing our girl out the whole episode. And where does that lead her? Tom Wamsgans. So he finds her in the crying room, which when she said that she had to schedule time to cry, that was so fucking heartbreaking. The writers just keep inventing new ways to break our hearts over these kids. She literally has to schedule time that literally broke my heart. Oh my god. I also was wondering if that was also kind of a symptom of the pregnancy hormones and whatnot. Maybe it's not even just a heartbreak cry. Maybe it's just a pregnancy cry. She just needs to let it all out for 15 minutes a day, you know? But anyway, Tom finds her and he's comforting her, and eventually one thing leads to another and they're kissing, and that's all we see of them in this scene. But then they see each other again at a party, and then Shiv is like, let's do bitey, which is the way that she flirts, the way that Shiv flirts is so funny because it's so not normal. And honestly, this scene just kind of made me respect the fuck out of Shiv Roy, because the gall to do that in the middle of an investment party full of people whose opinion of you directly influences the success of your company is just crazy. But no, we finally get the Tom Shiv hookup that most of the fandom was waiting for. But unlike most of the fandom, I didn't think that they were gonna get back together. I just thought they were gonna fuck one more time, because I feel that was obvious, right? If flicking Shiv's ear in the middle of Norway isn't foreplay, I don't know what is. So it was obvious that they were gonna fuck again, but I didn't think that they would actually get back together. And when Tom tries to bring up the conversation again, he's like, I want to get back with you. I expected Shiv to just brush him off again and just say something and then leave the room. But surprise, surprise, we actually get a moment of vulnerability from Siobhan Roy. And she was like, you fake ass bitch, why did you betray me? No, I'm kidding. She didn't say that. She actually said it in a way where you could tell she was being open and showing that she was hurt. She really wanted answers, you know? And then we also get Tom dropping the fake phony act actually, and he just tells her, listen, I love you, but I love the paper a little bit more. And I just love this scene so much. It was probably my favorite scene of this episode because you can just see both of their masks drop and they see each other for who they are, which is horrible, horrible people who are absolutely meant for each other. And I feel like low-key, like, is this the start of a new Succession power couple? Like, the next time she talks with Batson, she's with Tom and his feet are on her desk, which is like, first of all, Mr. Man, what the fuck is you doing? But like, she seems to be okay with it. And then in the scene at the end, when they're like plotting again and Tom is doing a little bit of flirting, like look at her face. Look at her face. That is the face of a woman who is attracted to her husband for the first time in their marriage. But yeah, that was basically all Shiv did this episode. Not all, because it was kind of important. But she cannot control Mattson and she cannot control her brothers. So I do not know how she thought this was gonna work out for her. Like, I think even with Tom by her side, because obviously he's like in on it now too, I think even with him, like, he's not any better than her. Like, neither of them are gonna know what to do about those insane men, because they're all crazy, they're all insane. But yeah, Shiv's still my girl. I'm still rocking with her. She got her man back, she got her boo back, but I do not know where the cards are gonna fall in the whole Mattson deal, because her brothers are literally like so intent on taking the deal. It's crazy. Speaking of which, we need to talk about fucking thing 1 and thing 2. Yeah, they are going crazy with power in this episode. With Roman, I feel like with Ken, right? He's absolutely just like literally drunk on power. Not drunk, but like, you know, high. Because, oh god, that man is on a copious amount of drugs. But he's just basking in it all. He is like, he finally has what he wants. He's there, and he's lit as fuck. But I feel like with Roman, this power is first of all like very new to him. Because with Ken, he was kind of groomed for this. Like, this was always supposed to be his. Whereas with Roman, he was always gonna be like kind of like second fiddle. But now he's actually like head honcho. So he's never had this amount of power before. And you combine that with the fact that he is still very obviously grieving for his father, and that kid is just a fucking wreck the whole episode. Like, the first thing he does is fires 2 people on a fucking whim, and one of the people is Jerry. And something that someone brought up, which I didn't even consider, is that both of the people that he fires, they're women. And with Jerry in particular, they had that weird little, not gonna call it a relationship, but a little bit more than a situationship, whatever the fuck they was doing. Like, I didn't even want to call it misogynistic, because I think Roman, like, not a feminist, not a misogynist, but a secret third thing. Whatever that third thing is, mixed in with the grief and like the high from having all this power, contributed to him just like fucking around for the whole episode. It was crazy. And I feel like with Joy, the executive producer lady, he was kind of just lashing out because he got insulted by her comments. And I feel like that was more like of a bratty firing. But with Jerry, that was heartbreaking. Like, I feel like that's the word that I use all the time with Roman now. It's just heartbreaking because he's so obviously just like in a fucking wreck. But with Jerry, he's like begging her to respect him how she respected his father. And she's like, do you want me to say it or do you want me to believe it? And it's just like, oof, Jesus. like I can't blame her, but damn, you can't lie a little bit. Like, I just feel like Roman's feelings of inadequacy are mixing with the grief that he still feels for his father, to the point where he's like, I shouldn't even have to be adequate because I shouldn't even be here right now. Like, my father should still be alive and I shouldn't have to be doing this, but because he is doing it, he's trying his hardest to like fill the big shoes, right? But he knows that he can't, and that's why he's grasping at all of these straws to try and feel powerful in some weird way. And he's not even hiding it well, because in his rant to Jerry when he fires her, he's like, Jerry, I don't think you give me the respect that I deserve. And it's just like, Rome, you don't want respect, you want your dad back. Like, I thought Ken was gonna try to like slowly push him out, but Roman is taking himself out of the game. Like, he has no faith in himself in this position of power. And we see that once again when Shiv gets in his head about the presentation and then he backs out of it last minute. And then we see Ken do it, and in true Kendall Roy fashion, he fails upwards all the time. He knocks it out of the fucking park. Well, I'm not gonna say that because there is still a lot of issues with the actual product itself, or lack thereof. But something that stood out to me is when Ken was doing his presentation and he does the little thing where he has like Logan's pre-recorded head up on the projector. The camera cuts back to Roman and he just has this like painful look across his face. And then after Ken comes back and all the people are like, you did good, the stocks are up, the price is raising, he just storms out of the room. And a lot of people were talking about how this is because, he's mad at himself for backing out. He's mad that his brother is getting all the glory. But I also think it is still that like combination of like this weird feelings that he still has with his father. And I think seeing his father on the projector like really fucked him up. And I think listening to the edited clip that Ken sends him at the end of the episode is, in one way, it's a comfort, both because it's his dad's voice and he's saying something in the same vein of what Logan like usually says, right? It's also kind of hurting him at the same time because he's listening to his father's voice say that he always gets it wrong. That's just validating the feelings of inadequacy that he feels in the moment. And who better to invalidate him than his own father? Like, you know, that weird push and pull relationship that Roman has with like being insulted. There were also some weirdos insinuating that he was doing something else while listening to the clip, and I just don't think that's what the writers intended at all. I think Roman's affinity for being insulted is a symptom of always being put down as a kid, you know, being the youngest brother. And then also, you know, like the slight homophobic undertones, whatever, right? And it extends into sexual context, but that's not where it originates. And in this weird, like, masochistic way, he finds comfort in it. But yeah, Rome update, still doing horrible, and everyone around him is too caught up in their own shit to notice, and he keeps pushing away the one person who might be able to notice and actually care, which, by the way, stop trying to fucking fire Jerry. Take a shot every time they try to fucking fire Jerry, and you're gonna be dead by the end of the episode. Like, holy shit, chill about that. And I would like to think that that was just him having a tantrum, and he's gonna reverse it soon. But based on A, Kendall's reaction, and B, that scene in the trailer where she's like, I'm gonna sue, I have a feeling that he just kind of goes through with it and fires her for good, which pisses me off, but fuck it, we move. And we move on to our number one cokehead, Ken, who is bouncing off the fucking walls. Over under, how much coke do you think Ken did this episode? He was like a kid in the candy shop the whole time, and the Living Plus venture or whatever was like his shiny new toy. I foolishly thought that he would have poise this episode and try to seriously run the company, and yeah, no, it's just none of that. It's absolutely none of that. When Roman tells him how he fired Joy and Jerry and he's like Shiv's grandmother Jerry, I was like, okay, he's gonna snap out of it, Power Ken's gonna come back. No, not at all. That's not what we get at all, actually. He's like, yeah, fuck it, drop her off in the end zone. What the fuck do you mean? I like how he processed that Roman just severed like a family bond and was like, you know, fuck it. Yeah, but I don't care. Like, bro, like, Kendall, please, we're rooting for you. Like, please, like, calm down. But yeah, he's just riding high this whole episode. And I was waiting for him to like crash and burn. And I thought that maybe it would come when Rome backed out of the presentation last minute, but no, he like kept going through with it. And then I thought maybe he's gonna snap when Carl like stops him in the hallway and he's like, listen buddy, if you say some shit that I don't fucking like, I will squeal. I thought he was gonna snap then because we know that Ken has a sensitive ego, right? But he just smiles at him and continues to do the presentation and knocks it out of the park. And that's the growth that we keep seeing from him. Kind of like when Mattson insulted him in the last episode, season 1 Ken would have reacted way differently, but he's just calm now. And I think a lot of this comes from he's not like fighting for the top spot anymore. He already has it, so he doesn't have to be as defensive. And I also think it's interesting because like he also to a certain extent heeds the words of others, because he didn't go up there and say the numbers that he was trying to get. What's the guy's name? The numbers guy. I don't know what his actual position is, but in the earlier scene when he was like, make the numbers work, he actually didn't even end up saying any numbers during the presentation. So Carl actually kind of got to him and called him and calmed him down just the slightest bit, which is something I don't think we would have ever seen in season 1. So shout out to Ken for that. Side note, I love seeing the old guard flex their muscles a bit to like tell the kids to like calm the fuck down. You know, like I feel like for the most part when Logan was alive, they were just like his henchmen. You know, we never got to see the more brash side of them because they definitely couldn't show that to the kids because the kids were under the protection of Logan, right? But now that he's gone, they're like, hey, you guys need to like straighten the fuck up because you're not your dad and we're not afraid of you. Love that for them. But you know, back to Ken, he actually knocks it out of the park. We actually end this episode with him on a high note, which is crazy. He's on the beach. At first I was scared. I'm not gonna hold you. When I saw that he was on the beach, I was scared. I was like, wait. I was like, you just did something really good, and your history with bodies of water isn't really positive, so what's gonna happen? But no, it was actually chill. He just wrote, you know, the number 1 in the sand with his foot because he's the number 1 boy. He was just in the water, just basking in his success. And he was like facing upwards as opposed to whenever it was when he was facing downwards in the pool and he almost drowned. That's such a complete full circle. And And I really wish I could have the confidence to say that that's where it's gonna end and Ken's gonna be good. He's gonna be a good CEO, but that was just episode 6 and there's 4 episodes left. And there's an antsy Scandinavian man waiting in the rafters. So we're gonna see what happens. I really like this episode mainly because I feel like the first, 5 were just packed, were just loaded with a bunch of emotions. And this one still was too, but significantly lower stakes, which is ironic because I said that I was gonna start doing each episode because the stakes were higher and this was like the lowest stakes episode so far. But a lot of things were set up, and based on the trailer, a lot of it's gonna come crashing down. Hopefully all Roy kids are still alive at the end of it. So yeah, tell me what you think. Tell me if you think that Tom and Shiv are actually gonna like work this time around, because I'm still very suspicious of it, and I still don't know if they're gonna actually have that like balcony fight. That seems like a very real thing that will happen soon, and I'm just wondering what it's gonna be about. Tell me if you think Roman makes it to the end, makes it to the season finale. I heard that the season finale was gonna be an hour and a half. That's a movie. That's a movie. Literally. It's literally gonna be a movie. And I hope towards the end of it, we still have 3 siblings who are alive and breathing. 4! I forgot about Connor. He wasn't even in the episode. Connor wasn't even in the episode and you didn't even feel his absence. Oh my god.